I start my presentation, just like to say that I personally don't have a connect with UP, and I'm assuming that's not the prerequisite to present in this forum. But I'll definitely like to say that I'm proud that for last 10 years we have been associated with UP as a technology partner. So if you look at today, SWAN and SDCs from CA Technologies, we have been the technology partner to providing monitoring services over there. So that is like one of the privilege I can definitely say we carry forward from there. So I'm proud of that. I think you heard most of the presentation. I'm just going to take on an average just 10, 12 minutes as most of the speakers. And if you look at this, today most of the people talked about, this is the maturity layer of smart city today. And I will speak about the basics here, say, because ICT core of the IT infrastructure, which is being laid into most of the smart cities today, if you look at, and we are just talking about some of these layers which need to be managed and secured in the right fashion. So if you look about sensing layers, and if you want to set up a smart city where everything will depend on how sensors work, I think that becomes a very crucial part of it. How the data transfers, and everybody spoke about the amount of data it will be generated, but if the communication layer is not managed well, I think we'll not be able to do much with the data which gets generated. The smart city platform, the backbone of where the entire data get aggregated. So today, if you look at the state already have it in a small form of where the entire e-governance platform is already set in form of state data center. So can it be moving forward one of the form where the command center can be set up? And finally, the service layer, which becomes an engagement model between government and the citizen. If you look at for smart to work, and that's what you have to look at, you have to take care of where services, people, business, communication, energy, transport, and actually the list goes on. And these are the sub and small component of a smart city to function together. And if you look at this, I've just put it into to simplify saying IT is the center of smart city. So everything, if you look at transportation, waste management, utilities, traffic management, crime management, even education in smart cities, and if IT is not performing well, these services will not be able to deliver the way smart city expect these to be delivered over there. Also, which came out, one of the outcomes which you have been listening to multiple presentation, it is moving from an application environment to a app environment. And when I say app, this is how we will move forward. So today you look at any of your handheld devices, you want any services from government, you will use your handheld device, ask for those services. It will be as simple as maybe when it comes to power, through an app you will be able to demand how many kilowatts you want for your house over there, and those kind of things. You want to renew them, you want to get into a prepaid model, all this will become an app environment moving forward. And it is very important to understand that unless the application apps which are running and which are the backbone of the IT infrastructure are managed well, we will not be able to deliver those services. And irrespective of when we talk about because we're talking about smart apps, because we are talking about smart cities over there, whether they are on web, they are on cloud, they are based on web application, we have to have a right perspective and understand how each subcomponent of app is performing and actually able to provide, distinguish where the problems are happening. And today if you look at these many users on the phone, that's where it is important to get the data to citizens and even to the executives in the way they want it, not just depending on, and as one of my panelists said, you don't have to be in office to get that data. You want that data to be available on your smart devices wherever you are available, whatever you are monitoring over there. So if you're looking at the IT health of your smart city, that data should be available at any point of time, anywhere you are available in the system. So that's what we are able to provide. Provide those technical and business APIs, especially for executive people who look at how the smart city is performing. So that is one part of it. Second is we start with setting up smart cities and we set up IT infrastructure, but there's no idea how it's going to scale up. How can we really look into, rather than, because this is a misnomer when say the moment something is not performing well, just throw in more hardware over there, and that's what the same mistake we don't want to do any further. We want to make sure we understand how much of the IT capacity is required for a smaller to a bigger smart city to perform and do the right decisions at the right time. And that's where the capacity management becomes most crucial from a IT perspective to set up in IT infrastructure. And that's what we say, decision support for IT investment. Look at how much of consumption is happening and the way it's growing. Yes, you may be required to do more, required to get more hardware, but buy it at the right time, not just at the beginning where it is not even consumed at the right level. I'll just focus slightly before I move into the last part, which is security, on the device management. Because if today if we spoke about the devices are being the heart or the backbone of business, and the government today also, if you look at most of e-governance also with M-governance initiative, is moving into smart devices for the interaction between government and citizens. And this is what is the concern right now, because if devices become the source of interaction between government and citizen, we really want to make sure what goes onto those devices, whether the services are secure. You want to roll out new application, and even within the government, when we set up smart cities, all the apps which are being performed or executed through the handheld devices, I think the government needs much more control what is happening through those devices. Obviously, I think most of you by now would have lost at least one handheld device with crucial data on it. Does that become a concern for government, or can it still be taken care of? So how do we really take care of mobilizing those services on handheld devices, secure everything, enable self-service, because that's how you want to make even your own community more smarter, not just the citizens, but I think internally the executives who take care of day-to-day operations as well. Automate management tasks, performance of handheld devices, I think that's why. So if we talk about everything to get smarter, I think from manageability perspective also we have to take care from a management devices perspective. So if you look at from a government perspective, that's what from a IT department, because when we talk about so much of IT infrastructure will come up, the biggest nightmare for IT department is going to see that everybody says the pressure which is going to set up on that IT team, which on which the dependence is so huge, because they are making sure the city runs 24/7. If something goes down from that perspective, there is a lot of blame which is going to come back on. So IT department is going to be humongous pressure from that perspective, and we have to look at right technologies to be helping them to come out of that mode. And I think everybody has been talking about Internet of Things and what happens in Internet Minute. Because today, for the collaboration to happen between government and citizens, this is gone. This is history. This is like basic, which is saying perimeter security, who comes into the environment. And even if you want to create a smart city like this with boundaries and high walls and create a palace out of it, but the new security reality is, because you will open it to outside world, you will open it to outside businesses, you will open it to new partners, government will open it to G2G and G2B initiatives. And if you look at this is what each one of you also are part of this environment today, and you have concerns. Even today when you load a picture on the Facebook, I'm sure you are concerned, because I am, when I say who sees the picture and can I make sure that it is protected and not goes into hand of somebody who can tamper with the data which is being provided over there. So the security impact is obviously externalization, because even when you create a smart city, you cannot just have it internal to yourself. You have to open it to outside world to connect and make it more smarter, bring in new apps which the dependence on those apps is too much. If one of those apps is actually compromised, the entire data, the entire smart city is actually at a threat at that point of time. Blurring of work, professional and personal, because today if you look at, you are allowed to log in into your apps with your own Facebook IDs, and that's how the gap between personal and professional is shrinking. And sensitive data, wherever it is residing, you want to make sure it's protected. Because in a smart city today, people don't want to steal your data. They just want to bring either a bad name to an organization, or they want to just bring entire city down by just deleting this data or tampering with those applications. And even we create a great infrastructure, but if we don't have a great technology to secure our IT environment, none of this will help us actually. So if you really look at getting smart means opening up to business, but if you really look at government to citizens, we have to make sure from every identity to access to APIs, because there'll be a lot of G2G and G2B connections and a communication which will happen, SaaS based application which will be delivered. So you want to make sure IT team want to be assured that irrespective of who comes into the environment, everything is completely secured. Just look at this. This is like, sometimes it's scary when you look at 50 billion things connected by 2020, and somewhere I think whoever creates this, one thing I'm happy that I think we had the right numbers from how much of data will be generated by 2020. So finally, just to sum it up, build, accelerate, enable and protect the new requirement which comes into smart city, and I think that's where CA Technologies as a technology solution provider for end-to-end infrastructure monitoring or providing complete security around the smart city environment which gets built up, and we are there, and I think we can take forward any discussion which are required from there. Thank you very much.